Wade is guarding Bryant. Artest looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up with the buzzer. Banks it in! He banks in the three! And the Lakers win the game!
Good morning, Syndicate members. What's going on, man? It's Wednesday, so we are live at 9 a.m. right here in Austin, Texas from Syndicate Insurance, Syndicate headquarters. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. We are ready to go. We got a superstar show for you guys. Joe, tell them what is up.
We're back live. So we figured out the StreamYard thing, and apparently I just needed to hit refresh on the live page, which I didn't know I could do. So we're back live in the group. I know last week you guys caught me on my personal profile, but we are here live within the Insurance Syndicate. The group has been growing. The member engagement is through the roof. So thank you guys as always. We appreciate it. And yeah, we have an action-packed show, and I think it's just kind of the perfect tee up to, guys, we're already almost a freaking March, which is just wild to me that we're already almost into, the third month of the new year. And just kind of, again, looking at how we started the year, but ultimately kind of looking at all the changes that have happened in the life and health side of things, as well as property and casualty. This is going to be dual fest. I mean, I'm super excited to have these guys on. Real quick, though, you guys know, as always, before we get going, shout out to Viva Virtual Solutions. Weekly wins right after that. Shout out to Viva, our main sponsor of the show. We couldn't do it without you. Lily, I got you on your testimonial coming after this show as well, just because of everything that y'all do here within the group, and also for countless other insurance agencies when it comes to virtual assistants. So again, shout out to Viva, Rob Lopez, Lily Davies. If you're looking for a virtual assistant, definitely do not hesitate to reach out to them. I've been using them for years, and they are just a pivotal piece to our team. And we treat them as teammates, right? Not as a VA. They are part of our agency, and we couldn't do it without them. So thank you, Viva. And then to Tony's point here, you guys know what it is. I mean, it's winning on Wednesday. Oh, crap. Wrong button. Wow. I guess I'm freaking outdated in the studio. You know what time it is, y'all. It's winning on Wednesday. It's all about those weekly wins. Start dropping them in the comments. We want to be able to celebrate you. We don't care how big or how small. Go ahead and start dropping those wins in the comments. Mr. Merwin, go ahead and kick us off. What's a weekly win for you, my man?
Mine's actually going right into the theme of the show today in regards to sales training and agent development. Just seeing that within my team, like seeing the individual agent develop, seeing that growth, seeing their attitude and their behavior and how they approach their day, do that. And I'm seeing that in Gabu, as well as Sophia, our two newest people here.
Love it.
And just really proud of them, right? Just really proud of seeing them get to that space of a deeper level of understanding of the business and a little more self-sufficiency.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that just comes with repetition. Y'all know it. I would say, gosh, my weekly win, I mean, maybe just finishing out February. I would say probably on the internal side of things. So we've had some shifts within the agency, but ultimately the leads and the referrals have just been freaking flowing in, man. And so that's always a good problem, is that we have like too much coming in. So now we need to get more bodies in place. But it's just been an amazing week. Really, it's just been an amazing month. We have just been hitting it freaking hard. Clearview as a whole, we've done over $1 million again this month. We should hopefully close out around $1.5 million in new business sales. So we're excited about that, and just continuing to look to hopefully double by the end of the year. So that is definitely my weekly win.
That's what I probably should have just said, because we have definitely had record-setting Januaries and February so far.
Yep.
So
love it.
A couple more days left, but yeah, February we're killing it.
Let's go. Let's go. I see you guys dropping in the comments. Drop those weekly wins. What's up, Jess? How are you? Warmer weather. Ain't an amazing VA who has taken on his own responsibilities and helping out so much. Organic leads coming in like crazy this month. I'll take that. Weekly win for Hanky is working out. I know I need to join you on that, man. All right. So, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get into it. We do have a hard stop at 10 a.m. Central. So I want to make sure that we have plenty of time for everybody to hop on here. And it looks we had one person just pop off. I'm going to go ahead and bring on one of our guests here, Mr. Joseph Puckett. How are you, sir? How you doing?
I'm awesome, man. Thank you guys. Appreciate you for inviting me on, man. I love your group. You guys are very active. All of the posts, you know how many Facebook groups are just dead, right? There's no posts. There's nothing going on. Your community is awesome, man. It's fantastic what you guys have built.
I think what we're up to about 8,600 members plus or minus
8,600 and growing.
Definitely good engagement in the group. A lot of post activity. So
yeah,
we've got a good group. I'm always super appreciative of it because we don't tolerate, number one, any of the ass hattery that is some of the other groups allow, right? It's a community. You have to take care of it. You have to nurture it. So we don't allow each other to trash talk each other and create problems and conflict in the group.
Absolutely.
Amen. Yeah, a lot of Facebook groups getting negative, right? They're just complaining. My carrier sucks. They cut my comp. Our systems suck. Like all that negativity has got to be tuned out. And I'm not seeing any of that. It's all positive. Here's what I'm doing to win and all that kind of stuff. It's awesome, man.
Absolutely. Well, speak real quick. Speaking of community, he's back with us, y'all. We got to bring him back in. We got Mr. Pete Fournier. What's up, brother?
Hey guys, how are you? Sorry, the StreamYard and Safari don't like each other, so I had to download Chrome.
No, they don't.
You're good. No worries. Well, hey, real quick, y'all, you guys know Pete. Anybody that's been in the syndicate, you guys have seen him around here for years. Been definitely a friend of me and Merwinators for years as well. Got to speak on some of the same stages and do some business together as well. And ultimately, I've been trained. This is actually really cool. The two guests on this call have literally like trained me and some of my agents in our agency. So it's actually really cool to kind of bring y'all together and hear your guys' insights. And y'all, again, this is really, we're going to just talk about the industry, but ultimately, again, the things that we're doing, to your point, Joseph, just what we're doing to win and how we're able to, again, just siphon out that negativity. We don't have freaking time or space for it in our lives or in our business. So thank you guys for taking the time, y'all. We have an action-packed show for you guys. Real quick, let's start with you, Joseph. For just anybody, you're a little bit newer to the group for sure. For anybody that doesn't know who you are, which is crazy. If you're an Allstate agent, I know you know who Joseph Puckett is. But for anybody that maybe doesn't know who you are, maybe give them a 30,000-foot overview as well as a weekly win for yourself.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'm excited to see everybody. So I'm Joseph Puckett. I'm in Alabama, if you're wondering where this accent's from. I started with Allstate back in 2009, right? So I was with Regions Financial first, right out of college, started with Allstate in 2009, 24 years old. They let me start a scratch agency, not knowing what the hell I was doing. And I borrowed every penny of the money that I had to have to show that I had $50,000 in my account. Within 6 months, I had spent it all, had no staff, and had no clue what I was doing. So I was not set up for success. And that's why I have such a huge passion for helping agents, especially newer agents, but even larger agents that are trying to scale to the next level so they don't hit that glass ceiling. They can keep growing and scaling their business. But that's when I started with Allstate. I was 24 years old. Did it for a couple of years. Then I joined another agent in Alabama. Figured I could make more money working for him. And I did. So at that time, we had 2 locations and about $10 million in premium, which is decent size for a captive agency, personal lines captive agency. Over the next 11 years, we grew to just over 40 million in premium. We had a couple acquisitions, so it wasn't all organic, but grew to over 40 million, and he sold in 2022 in a 8-figure deal. Because we had so much success, people started asking us for help. So since 2015, I've been helping coach, train, and develop agencies all across the country. I'm blessed to have worked with thousands of people, producers, owners, managers, via online training, events, workshops, all that kind of stuff. But now I'm doing it on my own. So I branched out to do my own thing with Joseph Puckett Consulting. I'm also managing a $32 million agency in Dallas, Texas. It's for the Aaron Augustine Allstate agency. So I've built that team. I've generated the leads, processes, marketing, all that kind of stuff is in place. We're writing about 500 items a month now. The average last year was about 300 items a month. So I came on board in August. We've been hitting 500 a month for the past 4 or 5 months. It's running like a well-oiled machine now. So I felt comfortable to get back to helping agents. So that's primarily what I do. I spend 6, 7, 8 hours a day in Zoom sessions, training agency owners, consulting them on how to hire, develop staff, all that stuff. And then primarily working with team members. I love training team members, teaching them how to sell and value and coverage and advice, not just to try to be the cheapest price, to bundle and go deeper and wider into the household, to generate life and retirement leads. That was my live training yesterday for my members. But I spend 6 to 8 hours a day on Zoom training and role playing and practicing. And I get to see people grow and develop and hit their goals. I get to watch them win. That's my win, dude. Like, just here's my win, then we can pass it to Pete. My win this week was I had a training session with a team on Monday morning. This producer's newer. He's only been there for about 3 months. He was a bartender, right? Was a bartender before, and he's joined an agency in Texas, captive agency in Texas. And I was training him. We were looking at through some of his quotes, and I saw a couple things that he could have improved on, how to position the product better and all that kind of stuff. Long story short, so we can pass it to Pete. Later that afternoon, he closed a 6-item deal, right? 3 cars, home, umbrella. Customers never heard of an umbrella. This guy's brand new to insurance. He was kind of stuck on how to position it because we were a little bit higher. Well, I got him to close that deal that afternoon. Seeing that kind of immediate success fuels me. So that's my win.
Yeah, especially for somebody new, how important is that as well, man? I love that. And we'll definitely dive into that. I love that you said, you went and worked with somebody else to make more money and you made more money. So we'll kind of talk through some of that as well. Pete, for real quick, man, for anybody that doesn't know you, I know, again, you've been in the group for years now. It's funny, he brought up that glass ceiling. I feel like you kind of had maybe somewhat of a similar story of a different story, but somewhat similar. For anybody that doesn't know Pete, give us a 30,000-foot overview.
Yeah, so Pete Fournier, been in the industry since 2010. I got licensed when I was in college. Worked for a couple captives for a few years, then was an agency owner under a big IMO, was president of sales on the corporate side for a couple of years for an IMO, and then just said, fuck it, let's start my own. So started All Things Insurance Group in November of 2021. Just like Joe, I do some agent training and consulting outside of ATIG. I've been coaching since like 2016, 2017, got about 3,000 or 4,000 coaching clients under the belt. Win for the week. I would say our intern program is going crazy. We had like 11 applicants last week. We had 6 in licensing and we got 6 in the office right now, which is pretty cool because these kids are starting. I call them kids. They're only like 14 years younger than me, but they're starting like when I started, but my internship was like, here's a phone book and hit up your mom and dad and pray to God they want to buy from you. And do that 100 times and you'll make a couple sales. And I remember being like rookie of the year in our region, selling 36 grand in life insurance, which is disgusting. So like seeing these guys closing like a $2,000 a month IUL, obviously with my help, or like a $400,000 annuity at 21, like, one, it's cool to see these guys shit their pants when they get their commission check, but 2, like, they're getting off the ground way faster than I ever did. So the goal is to cut their learning curve in half, if not better.
Agreed, dude. It's funny. I started as an intern as well, man. And it was like, I mean, we had bought an old guy's book and we were just going, like, everything was kind of going electronic, right? So like all I did was scan in paperwork for E&O purposes for like literally 6 months. and then slowly but surely, right? I love that you say that, which it's honestly, guys, it kind of is a perfect segue into the first question I had for you. And Joseph, we'll have you kind of kick us off, and then let's just, again, y'all, let's keep this super conversational. Guys, if you're watching this, you have any questions or anything like that, just put it in the comments. We will make sure to get those answered live for you. But my first question is, and again, we've been in long enough now, and I know Tony is probably the most tenured, I think, out of all of us, so he's seen a lot of this change. But how has the insurance sales landscape evolved in the past year? We'll say 2024, obviously now into 2025, compared to even just 5 years ago. And what do you think has driven the biggest changes? Joseph, we'll start with you. What do you think has really driven the biggest changes in the evolution of our industry, even from 5 years ago to now?
Yeah. Disruption brings great opportunity. When you look at all the states, especially states that are having challenges with storms and fires and this and that, carriers are pulling out of states, rates are going through the roof, deductibles are being forced higher, guidelines are tightening. It's getting harder and harder and harder to place business. Customers are more price sensitive than ever, right? Because everything's going up. Everything's going up. What the hell's going on with chickens, y'all, and eggs? And I went to the Costco the other day. I went to the Costco with my wife. 4 little steaks, $84. And she was like, "Are we going to buy this?" I'm like, "No, we're not going to buy that. We're just going to drink protein shakes." Everything's going up in price. So customers are more and more and more price conscious, more and more price sensitive. I believe I saw a stat the other day, around 40% of insurance owners, P&C insurance policyholders, are interested in shopping. So that's good. That's good, right? That means there's opportunity. When other carriers are like, "Bye, Felicia, we're out of here. Or we no longer want to write this or that or whatever," that brings opportunity for me and for my sales team. Rates going up. Great. We just got a raise, baby. That's what I tell my team. Congratulations. Oh, Allstate just announced 12%. Yes. Right. What are you going to do with your extra money this month? Right. Raises. That's the way I look at it with my team. And then when it comes to price selling, even though consumers are still more and more and more price sensitive, especially as they're being forced sometimes to shop around, and they just kind of have to, whether it was the company non-renewing them or forcing higher deductibles, or they just gave them such a crazy rate, they're trying to push them out the door. Customers are price sensitive. The way that I've always taught to sell. For my own teams, when I was managing a $10 million agency, growing it to over 40, now as I manage a $32 million agency, as I worked with thousands of agencies all across the country for the past decade, value selling is still the way to go. Value selling, consultative based, making it all about coverages and value and your advice, not just trying to be the cheapest price. If you're trying to be the cheapest price in P&C, good luck, especially if you're with a captive. Now, if you're independent and you're having to place or able to place business with other carriers, okay, you probably have a leg up on us captives. But our captive contract is amazing when it comes to variable compensation, monthly bonuses, annual bonuses, the ease of doing business with one company. I know a lot of people that went captive and then independent. They were like, "Shit," and then they came back captive, right? But that's what I've seen is tons of disruption. Oh, dude, another thing, staffing is hard, man. Getting people that actually want to work post-COVID, and y'all, that was 5 years ago. I mean, maybe at some point we'll stop saying COVID was just yesterday, but post-COVID, dude, the world's changed. Staff want to work remote. Staff want more flexibility. They want higher salaries. They want higher guarantees. They have options, man. They have options. So the day of paying people $12 an hour and 5% commission is over. So we set up a comp plan, with a very generous salary, a very aggressive commission structure. It's like one of my producers, if they just write about 65 items a month, and that's personal lines. So I know that's small. I know some of y'all do big commercial policies. You like laugh when I say, personal lines, whatever. You're like, "Ha, why is he doing that?" Y'all, that's where the bread and butter is for us. Autos, homes. We have 14,000 items in force. But we have a great commission structure. 65 items a month with us is about $120,000 to $130,000 a year. If somebody's writing about 5 items a day with us, 100 items a month, they can make close to $200,000 a year. So we pay very well. We're providing amazing leads, primarily live transfers and direct mail. We're spending a ton of money on leads and marketing to feed these people. Or, dude, if you don't do that, they're going somewhere else. So lots of changes. I don't know. Did I answer your question?
Yeah,
no.
no,
Let's go to Pete. Okay.
100%. Yeah, Pete, what's your take on that, man? What's driving the biggest changes from even just 5 years to now?
I think the landscape of agents is just with the rise of social media, like these insurance groups really started popping up, I think, in 2015, 2016, realistically. So maybe less than 10 years old. And I agree with Joe, like transparency is big. Like if you're not paying your people well enough, they're going to go find somebody else because everybody knows everybody else's comp plan. But I think agents in and of themselves are getting lazier because they are coming into the industry thinking, "Oh, I could get a CRM from the syndicate, and I could get a dialer from Pete, and I could get training from Joe, and I'm just gonna plug all this shit in, and it's gonna sell for me." And they're not doing the grunt work that all of us on the call had to go through to like sharpen our skills. They're just coming in and being like, "Oh, let's buy all these tools and bingo bango, I'm going to make 125 grand a year." So I think there's a disconnect of like the people that are actively recruiting, all of us, obviously, plus everybody else in the industry, of hey, look at this new shiny toy, but they're not going back to the roots of like insurance selling. And I'm not saying you have to come in this industry and sell out of a phone book like I did. That's probably illegal now anyway, from FCC regulations. But like, work your warm market, work some age leads, go in the field, get on Zoom, make some cold calls. Like, you need reps still, and you could get every dialer, tech, best lead on the planet, but if you can't close a door, you're still not going to make any money with those items. So like, if you're in the group right now, or you're watching this, or you watch the recording, like, if you're in your first 18 months, like, it should suck. And then you're going to get out of that 18-month period after seeing 200, 300, 400, 500 potential clients, and you'll get the reps in, and then you can get those shiny toys to optimize your business. But if you don't have a foundation, you're just going to continue to suck.
Right. Right. No, 100%. What's your take on that, Tony? Again, Tony's been around a little bit longer than all of us, y'all. So he's seen even, let's go back even further than 5 years. Even like, you've seen it. I mean, the evolution from the
I've
last
watched
10
this thing
years.
go from analog to digital. Like, there's no reason to beat that horse. Like, I remember when I was in the field, everything was paper. Everything was a fucking perforated booklet that you had to tear your app out. And then they give you this fax app program that's actually inefficient because you have to either make 2 faxes to get the odd and the even pages in there, or you got to make copies and shuffle it all together. And by the time you've done it, it's really not that more efficient. So, and then now here we are, and you have people that are using AI calls to call your clients. Like, it's nuts how I've watched the industry grow. I think Joe hit it right on the head, right? With some of the way the landscape has changed. There's a ton of disruption going on. You have climate change thought process happening, especially in the P&C world, where you got all these wildfires, tornadoes, hurricanes, shit happening around the world that's creating problems for the property and casualty industry altogether. And then you certainly have regulation going on, and that's both in y'all's industry, which I'm not as familiar with, but certainly in the life and health industry. There's a ton of regulation that keeps getting added on every time, which makes it more difficult for the agent. It creates more friction on the sales process is really all it does in a lot of ways, right? So it creates a lot more friction for the agency owner that's trying to build a streamlined process for his agent. But all of that conversation leads me to something else, and Joe alluded to it, so I want to pick up on it. That shift in consumer behavior because of some of the landscape changes, right? They're more price conscious. I want to take that thought process that you mentioned. It makes complete sense in the P&C world. Everybody rate shops a lot, really hard, right? Because most of us don't ever use our car insurance. We just buy it. Like, I'm an excellent driver. I'm never going to get in a wreck unless some other asshole T-bones me. Like, I should have been a race car driver. So I'm never going to actually use my car insurance. So it's always in the back of my brain, like, how do I beat the game and get another rate reduction because I'm such a great driver? I want Pete to translate that consumer thought process into the life and health industry. Are you seeing that same price conscious thought process in that space when people are shopping for life insurance, health insurance, annuities, et cetera?
I'm seeing more, like, especially in the advanced market side of things, IULs, infinite banking, like all those cutesy topics, more so like negative consumer output, because all of these idiots that are on TikTok and YouTube and stuff, like, advertising this shit, but then selling it incorrectly. Like, it's just giving like negative consumer confidence vibes all the way down. So when you're sitting in front of somebody and you say the word index universal life or whole life or whatever, it like triggers something in that'd be like, oh no, that 19-year-old with the chains was talking about that shit, and it's probably a scam, you know?
Right.
So it's like, it's this
Right.
weird dynamic on the consumer side of things, especially people like our age, like I would say between that 30 and 50, that are still like heavily involved in social media, but they also have a brain in their head, and they think for themselves. So they think all this stuff is very scammy, which is interesting because there is a lot of shit being slung out there nowadays. IULs became very popular in the last, I would say, 10 years. And like, just example, the other day, guy was paying $16,000 a month for his index universal life. He's been in it 3 years, and he's got like $4,000 in cash value.
Jeez.
Like someone's a piece of shit running around out there. But that, like, those legitimate cases drives that consumer confidence down. So
Mhm.
I think from the life and health perspective, and Tony, you probably see it a lot more in the Medicare space too, being that one trick pony is really going to weed you out of the industry, I think, in the next 3 to 5 years. Like, you have to come at multiple approaches. You can't just sling term anymore. You can't just sell IULs. You got to give every product or every solution, so that way the customer has options and they don't feel like you're pigeonholing them or like scamming them into a product, at least on our side of the fence.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, I agree. Well, and that kind of we'll kick it over to you, Joseph, on this one, because Pete, you're talking about it. It's like we got a lot of agents, and we do see it a lot on the property and casualty side, specifically in the vertical I run in the trucking space. We got a lot of shitty agents out there just slinging high premiums because they see the high premium. And again, you can smell the commission breath a freaking mile away. They have no idea what they're doing. They don't know what a filing is. Blah, blah, blah. They don't even know what DOT stands for, right? And so, like, it totally happens, I think, on both sides of the fence, which leads me to, if you could design, Joe, I want to kick this to you. If you could design the perfect insurance salesperson for 2025, what key skills or traits would they need to thrive?
Yeah. First thing is hunger. Hunger. You know, we read this book called The Ideal Team Player. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I'm not a book guy, man. Somebody asked me the other day, what's the last book you read? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe my chemistry book or something like that. I don't read books, man. I'll listen to them. I like Audible. But our agency went through the Ideal Team Player book last month in January. We spent a whole month going through it, talking about it as a team multiple times a week, partnering at the team members and talking about the 3 things that they teach or talk about for it being an ideal team player. First one is hunger. You know, if someone's not hungry, they're going to really struggle in this business. You know, a lot of team members or producers, even agency owners, will just show up and open their mouth and expect to be fed. Nope, you got to go out and hunt. You've got to find opportunities. You've got to follow processes. You've got to invest in leads and marketing. You've got to actually ask for the freaking sell. You know how many agents out there don't even ask for the freaking sell? They'll be like, here's my price. Is that cheaper? Or no, here's my price. I'll email this to you. No, that's not how you close, man. You got to ask for that credit card number, right? So hunger and drive is so important. Being smart, right? Being smart is the second part of the ideal team player that they talk about. Not just smart in how you interact with customers, not just smart in how you interact with like your own systems and setting up yourself for success and operational efficiencies and using technology to help you be more productive and all that stuff. It's smart in how you work with your teammates. So to be successful in this industry, you can't just be the biggest stick in the room, right? Or the smartest person in the room and think that you're better than everybody else and, you know, look down on your other teammates. What we find is our best producers over time are the best team players. They motivate others. They encourage others. They like make the mood bright. And it's not like they're just the best things in sliced bread. So smart in how they interact with each other and keeping the environment positive. I don't want to hear systems are down. Our systems are down. I can't quote. Shut up. I don't want to hear that. Of course it's down. We know that, right? My phone system's messed up. Good. Catch up on your emails and your to-dos, right? Your chats, your text messages. I don't want to hear anything negative. I want to hear not problems, but solutions, right? So smart and positive. That's really, really important. And then humble. Humble. That's the third thing that they teach an ideal team player. Someone that's humble and knows it's not all about them. It's for the team. They recognize and praise others. They're grateful for their opportunity. You know, we invest a ton of money in leads, primarily live transfers and direct mail. If we got a team member that's not seeming appreciative of that, even if they're writing a fair amount of business, if they start to seem like they are comfortable and complacent, those are 2 very dangerous words in my world. You can't get comfortable. You can't get complacent. You got to keep the hunger and drive going. But if they start to get entitled, big problem. Big problem. Keep feeding me. Keep feeding me. Keep feeding me. Listen, we're going to bring plenty of food to the table. The question is, what will you bring to the table? How many customer referrals are you going to generate? What will you do to get out and network yourself? Getting out and meeting mortgage lenders, realtors, apartment complex managers, leveraging your social media to generate leads, right? We're going to bring a lot of leads to the table and the best systems and processes. I think the best training and development, an awesome service staff. What are you bringing to the table? But typically, man, what I see is someone will rise pretty darn quick, especially if they have the right training and support. Then they get comfortable and complacent, and then entitled, they fall off the map.
Yep. and then the rest was history, right? Pete, what's your take on that? Because and Pete, obviously, you've started adding in the property and casualty side of things and are bringing people in on that side. And I know that's, somewhat a little bit new for you. You've been doing it for a little bit now, probably over a year. Have you been in offering P&C?
Yeah, like 8 months on the commercial,
Yep.
personal. It's more of like a referral network. So Joe, we should definitely talk after this.
Okay.
But yeah, ideal agent. Is that where?
Yeah. So
like,
you're
what kind of traits do you feel like an ideal agent should possess?
100% on the same platform as Joe on the hunger side. Like, if you don't want it, we can't want it for you. So like, I love, like, even these like 20, 21-year-olds. Hey, my parents aren't paying my bills anymore. Fucking good. You know what I mean? Like, you got to want that stuff, because it's the ones that come in and they're like, oh, I could live off of $4 or $5 grand a month. I'm comfortable. That sucks. So hunger first and foremost. Teachable and coachable, and two separate dynamics. Teachable, to Joe's point too, you got to be able to learn, like, in this business. You don't have to be a Harvard graduate to do what we do. Like, I'm mad that I have a bachelor's because I never use it. But like, you have to be semi book smart to learn the products, learn solutions, think outside of the box. And coachable, because we have to be able to train you and tweak you. I'm never going to scream at you, but I'm going to be like, I wouldn't say that ever again. And you can't take that to heart and cry. I'm just trying to make you better during your process. So hungry, teachable, and coachable for sure. The other thing I would add to that is, if you're newer, find a strategy with your manager, your trainer, your mentor, where you can hit base hits on a daily basis. And then outside of that strategy, go hunting, to Joe's point. Go for bigger fish, because that will sustain you. Yes, it might be boring to take live transfers for 6 hours a day, or maybe boring picking up the phone for 6 hours a day and making cold calls or dialing out Facebook leads or whatever. But if you're transacting business, even on a small scale, every single day, that makes you feel good inside. So during quote unquote off hours, whether you're out of the office or you're going out to a networking group or whatever, then go hunt for those bigger fish. And that will sustain you through the suck, because you're making advances every single day, and you have room to go whale hunting every once in a while.
Right. I like this. And I want to kind of continue with a little bit, because I feel like there's definitely a difference in the agents that are running their own deal, so to speak, right? Versus the agents that might be an LOA or a W-2 agent in your agency.
Yeah.
And how do you teach the LOA that's a W-2 agent and they're in that space to become the exterior outside of the office hunter?
Yeah. So you give them a piece, meaning, so like my interns right now, they know how to sell life insurance, and they're okay at Medicare. Like, they're learning as they go. And some of these kids are only like 4 to 5 months in. But from an office staff perspective, I have them doing final expense, basic term policies, and like inbound traffic from the website. Those are laydowns. Like, obviously they get rebuttals and objections, but most of them are closing at 30 or 40%. So they feel pretty good about themselves. But then I bring them outside to do a seminar, and not talk, just stand there and watch and learn, and then mingle around the room, talk to people, build rapport, set those appointments. And then when I close a $1 million annuity, we break off a piece of that commission to all of them for being part of the project. And they're like, well, how much do you get paid on this? And I'm transparent. I'm like, this much. And they're like, holy fucking hell. You're like, yeah, you're not ready for that, but this is what I'm trying to get you towards. So like, the being included in the entire process, and obviously getting paid to learn, is helpful, but like, show the vision, like, show where you want your agents to get to. Like, you shouldn't be like, well, you don't have to know how much I made. Like, fucking tell them, because that's where you want them to get to. And some of these kids, like, I pay a hourly pay plus commission. Some of them 4 or 5 months in have told me, I just want full commission. What do I get for that? Which is cool. I love seeing that. So I think allowing them to do the base hits on a daily basis keeps them engaged, but also taking them outside of the office, out of the mundane, and showing them like some sexy $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 commission checks. They're like, oh my God, I want to get there, and I want to get there fast. So I'm going to listen to everything that Pete tells me to do. you know?
Question on this, and Joe, we'll let you lead with this, and then we'll bring it back to you, Pete, too, because I want to hear your insights on that. Interns, starting them super young. What is the value, or what maybe can be the it's not devalue, but basically, so there's two sides to every coin, right? And I love young. Literally, we have a guy. He's the son of his name's Thad and Mason. They just bought a franchise with us, and Mason had just turned 20 years old and is literally like learning how to run an insurance franchise at 20. Freaking amazing, right? But also very young. And so it's like some of those things that you got to train on where you're not necessarily doing so. Maybe even not necessarily an industry specific person, like somebody who's like maybe moving teams or something, but just somebody who's a little bit older who has set up email, just all the kind of other stuff that I wouldn't think I would typically how to train. Joseph, what is your thoughts on basically hiring brand new and green versus maybe trying to teach an old dog new tricks? Or is it you can't teach an old dog new tricks, or no, you totally can, and this is how you do it? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we all started somewhere, and I have to remember that. Do I prefer some experience? Yes. I'll tell you, my sweet spot is someone with 2 to 4 years of experience with another captive agent. Haven't had a lot of success with independents because they're just so used to having so many options, and they're really primarily selling on price because they're like, I can quote it with 6 people. Nope, with us it's 1.
Right.
My top producers over the years have had 2 to 4 experience working for an agency that's not paying them right, not giving them the right training and development, not giving them the right leads and resources, has a shitty environment, bad culture, allows cancers to be there, doesn't pay them on time. I mean, I had a girl one time, she's like, JP, I don't know when I'm going to get paid. I'm like, what you talking about? She was like, he's supposed to pay us on the 15th, but sometimes it's the 21st. I'm like, for what? Girl, you start here tomorrow. I'm going to pay you a bonus too. Let's go. Right. So, man, that's typically what I find. So I don't have to teach them 1 + 1 = 2. I do think you can teach middle-aged dog new tricks. Old dog, been around forever. They're set in their ways. They think 15 calls in a day is a lot. I can't work with that. So I have to remember we all started somewhere. I started at 24, man. I started at 24. I work with young team members all across the country who are hungry and want to grow and want to buy houses and want to potentially invest in real estate and do other things, to make more money. I like that. So starting someone green, honestly, I'm not going to train them. I have developed trainers who can train them. Dude, if I have to teach one more person how to quote something, I'm going to jump off the roof, right? Like this is where to click. This is where you do. I'm not doing that, man. I'm way beyond that, but I've developed people who can do that kind of grunt work. I love people who come in green. They don't know that 150 calls a day is a lot. They don't think, writing $100,000 a month in personalized P&C is a lot. They're like, yeah, that's possible. Okay, here's how I'll do it. So I like that. But I'm just telling you, my sweet spot's 2 to 4 years captive already, and I scoop them up, man. And I call it, I'm going to take you from the minor leagues and take you to the major leagues. That's what I say in my interview. Yeah. Not talking that bad about your current agent. I'm sure they're doing the best that they can, but I've got the better deal, the better environment, the better leads, the better training, the better comp plan. Like, you're coming to the major leagues. So That's just my sweet spot, man, just being honest with you. I really don't love green newbies, personally, my world.
I feel like, I'm tossed up between that too. Pete, what are your thoughts? Because you're obviously working with them. You got 12 in the office in the last 2 weeks or something. So you're dealing with a bunch of we'll call them kids. I know some of them are probably close to my age too. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, some of these kids call it the ATIG fraternity, which is kind of fun. But it's just raging testosterone. We need some girls because it's just raging testosterone in the office right now, which is fine. But to Joe's point, too, on the remote side of things, I like existing brokers in that maybe 6 months to 18 to 24 months in the business. They're not like comp jumpers. They want to optimize what they're doing already. They already have a work ethic. And maybe they just are in a one-trick pony organization. Like, hey, my manager doesn't know even how to spell IUL or whole life. We're just slinging term or final expense or whatever. Those are good people to have. I really enjoy the green people, and it's taken me a while to put myself in their shoes and develop a process for them where they're making money quick. They're also learning simultaneously, and then they have a hunger, to Joe's point earlier, not making them complacent, because you pay a kid that's 21 $2,600 in a week. They're like, oh my God, I don't have to work the rest of the month. So it's a interesting dichotomy of like, yeah, I want them to get paid and show off their Louis Vuitton shoes and all this bullshit while they're still in school, but not pay them too much to have them just sit there and get fat and happy and not do any more work. But it is cool to watch them progress and like ask what's next, like what's next in the industry. Like they're not jaded by all of this social media shit, even conference, like they're so green, they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
So it's fun seeing that progression and having conversations of like, so what's the next 6 months look like? What happens when I graduate? What happens now? How do I get to be you? And I'm like, oh yeah, this is fun. As opposed to like we were saying earlier on in the conversation, all this negativity that's out there with these jaded brokers running around being like, everything sucks. They don't know any better. It's like a baby being born, you know?
Yeah.
I love that I'm like spot on, 100% agree with that. Because we talked about it earlier, the disruption of the market and in this industry, a lot of it's crazy to me. People that come over to me, because obviously a lot of what I do is showing the opportunity and recruiting and bringing them in. Well, I don't know, man. Everybody keeps telling me it's the wrong time to get into property and casualty right now because of the market and this. And I'm like, but if you don't know any better, like you don't know any, you're like, one, you're just listening to the negativity and everything. And obviously there's numbers and there's proof in the pudding that even in a hard market, you can still grow. You just have to work. And so bringing somebody into a hard market and seeing them find success and win, I'm like, y'all just wait until the freaking market opens back up. And then y'all will be like, dude, this is a cakewalk. And it drives me crazy because it is, guess what? The people that are telling them not to come in are the people that literally have probably been sitting for 10, 15 years, been, 80, 85, maybe 90% retention. They only have to grow, or replace that 10%. They just sit on their renewals. And now with, to Joe, your point, 40% of people on that side of things are shopping. If you're not picking up your phone, that young, hungry person that's just started and just got a taste of that check is going to call on your people. And guess what? Because you're not picking up, they're going to win the business. I love that you said that, man. And I don't know. I still am. I'm kind of like tossed up because I started when I was 19 too. I mean, I'm like a college dropout, 19. I love seeing a 19-year-old, but then sometimes it does like, oh, I can't believe I'm explaining this right now. But it is what it's so rewarding to see them finally tap into it. And that to me is repetition, which I love, Pete, that you're taking them out of the office too, which kind of, before we get into our buzzword topic to close out the show, what's the importance of, we'll say, taking the team out, getting them out of the office, getting them exposed to other, industry events? I know obviously even in the last 5 years, the evolution of the insurance events and the conferences and everything, some have blown up, some have washed away. Some are like, I don't know if I want to take my team there because they're all going to get recruited. Like, but there is serious value. Like, I know people on my team, some of the stuff that we've taken them to, or we go to a SWAT, Pete, like, I mean, it's life changing for them. What is the, Joe, we'll start with you. What's the importance of getting the team, we'll say, out of the office, right? Or I know you guys do the CWC Vegas event, all the pictures I always saw of that. Like, I mean, you guys bring that whole, I mean, it's everybody in their team is there and having a good time. And like, what's the power of that? Or how much of importance do you put behind that?
Absolutely. And just for clarification, did do that. I ain't there no more. I'm doing my own deal now. But yeah, man, I've had maybe 10 or 11 events over the years, big events, 400 or 500, 600 people. I love that team members get to come and learn, right? To get to network with other people, to realize that they are not alone in their challenges, their struggles, all that kind of stuff. They also don't get to do that a lot. A lot of the agency owners on this call, you get award trips from carriers, you get to take nice vacations and all that kind of stuff. Team members don't get to experience that, man. So if you can take a team member to a city, treat them to a couple nice meals, give them some great education, have some fun, get to know them on a more personal level, but not too personal, y'all, but get to know them on a personal level and have some fun. I think it's really cool that they see that side of it. In terms of networking and generating referral partners, dude, that's what I love, especially if they're local. But here's the problem, man. Over half of my team lives in 5 different states, right? I got Pennsylvania, Georgia, Oklahoma, Arizona, and Texas, but I'm not talking in Dallas. I'm talking borderline Texas. So, man, like, 80% of our people don't work in the office. Over half of our team aren't in the state. But if I had more team members in the state, especially local, I was always real big at my other agency that I used to manage in Alabama on taking my team members to all the events, the Realtor Association events, the Mortgage Lenders Association events. We'd go to the Home and Garden Joe's and like meet people and just network and pass out cards. I would set up appointments at mortgage companies primarily. That was our best referral source, and bring them with me and show them how I would do the breakfast and learn or the lunch and learn and how I develop relationships. Why? Because I wanted to copy myself. I knew I could do a lot by myself, but I know I could do a lot more if I had 5 or 6 people half as good as me. If I had 5 or 6 people half as good as me, we'd be doing 3 times what I could do by myself. So
Yeah.
I love networking, developing partners and relationships, not just here's some money because I'm a breaking RESPA law. Nope. We never paid for referrals. We never did anything like that. Our value was giving them amazing service, same day service. I had a 2-hour guarantee. You need something, you got it in less than 2 hours. We did it correctly. We would praise them to their customers about, oh my God, you're working with Betty Kitchens at First Bank. She's the best, isn't she? Isn't she amazing? God, I love Betty. Saying stuff like that. That's the value that we brought to our referral partners. But man, I think it's important to get your people outside of the 4 walls of the agency, or if they're working at home, get outside of the 4 walls of their home, right?
Mhm.
Their home office. I do think that that's important, especially with networking. But if you have the opportunity to take team members to educational events, and like what we're doing in 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to a Stars hockey game.
Oh, cool.
In Dallas.
Yeah.
Aaron's flying everybody in with their spouse or partner. We're putting them up in a nice hotel. He's bought a suite or rented a suite at the hockey game. I've never even seen a hockey game. I can't wait. I'm looking forward. I don't know what's going to happen. I know there's a puck and there might be some fights, but we're going to be in a suite, have some great drinks and food and networking and get to meet each other's spouses. Like that kind of stuff is also really cool, man. So for team building, especially if you have people spread out, they don't see everybody every day. They might feel alone. They might feel kind of isolated. I think little stuff like that's pretty cool too.
100%. We literally just had a Clearview day in office last week where we had agents come in Tuesday through Thursday. And it, some kind of brief minor training, but a lot of it was just, hey, we've been growing, we've been adding new agents and stuff like that. Let's all just get together and connect, right? One of the agencies newer with us, and he comes from corporate and only had ever been in corporate America. He's like, bro, I would maybe have to work like 2 hours a day, like if that, right? And just make my check in this. And he new to insurance, right? But and he loves work. He loves getting after it. He loves being his own business owner and everything. And he left that. And I don't know, to me, it's like, we didn't do a ton of like, oh man, we're going to like freaking, you guys are going to be selling $1 million a month by the time you leave this, right? It was more of just like, let's get to know each other. He left the event saying this was the best event or best basically business meeting he had ever attended. And we were bowling. I was like, my freaking man. But it's like we had so much fun bowling and playing pool and stuff like that. And it's like those small things, to your point again, dude, it's just maybe something they don't normally do. Or I mean, I worked from home from home and remote for 5 or 6 years, dude. And it can get tough sometimes, rolling out of bed and just logging into your laptop in your bedroom and selling insurance, right? Pete, obviously you speak on all this. That's where we first met, right? Is at an event and getting in the room, right? And then starting to speak and run breakouts and all that good stuff. What's your thoughts on that? Obviously you've seen a lot of that change too. And even you and your organization has changed a lot since you first started going to these things.
Yeah. Big proponent of events. Like if your mentor or your upline or whatever is keeping you like sheltered, like go to this shit. Like it's not a recruiting fest everywhere. Like it's a learning experience, and it's personal development so important because as we mentioned, since COVID, everybody's kind of on an island. So if you don't work in an office, you might be putting on sweatpants every day and trying to make dials and be bored out of your mind. So personal development and networking and meeting great guys like you guys, and developing friendships over the years is super important. I also like it from the aspect of like I'm going to bring, I have a in-office contest where like all expenses will be paid to SWAT, and just to get them out and about like in their 20s, because it does 2 things. One, like anytime we host a seminar at Roots Chris and it's after hours or whatever, it's like 2.5 hours long by the time we're done with it, I take them to dinner. Some of these guys have never even stepped foot in even though it's a chain steakhouse, like it's pretty good food, like have never stepped foot in a restaurant like that. Right. Like maybe their parents couldn't afford it or whatever. And like you get a seafood tower and you see them lose their fucking minds. Like that feels so good twofold. One, because I remember that feeling. Like we all know, most of us know Sam Wolf. Like when I was working under him in like 2012 or 2013, like he took us to like some high-end Brazilian steakhouse in Dallas, and I was like, "What the hell is this? Like, these people eat like this every day?" So like, I remember being 22, 23 and having that experience and being like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." But it also feels really good for yourself as an agency owner, because we have these experiences all the time. Knock on wood, I feel very blessed well, my BMW's in the shop, so I'm in the Tesla, but I'm very blessed to be in the Tesla while my BMW's in the shop, or be able to eat Roots or have a steak with Tony or like whatever. And like, we get kind of acclimated and jaded to that stuff because it's like what's supposed to happen on a daily basis. And you don't realize that everybody else is not having those same experiences. So being able to bring them up, it feels good, one, but it also makes you want to work harder, because I want to do that for hundreds of people, not just 14 or 12 or 6.
Right.
You know what I mean? So super awesome getting them out of the office, and it keeps them not bored. Like, they get to share the fruits of the agency's labor, you know?
Absolutely. I remember you and me and Cody and Emily and a bunch of us were sitting at Mastro's, and I had my new guy at the time, Manny. Unfortunately, he washed out, but I just remember seeing his expression when he opened the menu and saw the prices, and he looked at me like, what am I doing here? I can't. And like, I got you. Like, this is part of, like, come on, man, I got you.
Yeah.
But I enjoy getting my small team here out of the office for certain events, because it's just like Pete said, it gets them out of their bubble, right? If your mentor, your trainer, your upline, whatever, if they're sheltering you, say, "Oh, don't go to that event, don't go to that event," like, that should be a red flag for you. And I'll relate this. This is kind of silly, but it's absolutely analogous. One of my martial arts teachers used to be like that. I said, "Hey, there's all these guys that hang out at the park, at Peace Park, and they're all playing together, sparring and training together." He's like, "Oh, you don't stay away from those guys. You don't want to go over there." He's like, "Just your dojo here, that's the safe place. Stay inside your bubble." And as soon as he said it, I'm like, something's wrong. And I immediately went over there and met those guys in the park, started playing with them. And I realized, oh, now I know why he doesn't want me to go over there, because I'm going to find out that some of his shit isn't as cool as he says it is. Right? Same concept applies in what we're doing here. Like, if your upline or your broker, your mentor is telling you don't go to these events because they're going to brainwash you, or they're going to reveal that his shit isn't as good as he says it is most of the time. So I like taking agents to events, because it gives, especially brand new agents, like super green, they barely know the script that you've given them, and that's about all they have. And then you take them to a nice event. Like, I took Gabriel to the Texas State Capitol to meet with representatives and talk about our industry at a totally different side of the industry, but it gives them a chance to open up their eyes a little bit more, get a bigger, broader understanding of what is going on in this industry, and create, and especially for him, because he's very much into the cause, right? And this is something I learned at SWAT. Like, he's one of those guys that he wants to buy into the cause. Is what we're doing good? Am I helping people? Am I making an impact? Like, is there something good behind what I'm doing? And then, so taking him to that event, like, boom, immediate, bought in, loves the cause, sees what we're doing, very much into it, right? I think events are a great way to just allow your agent to kind of unfold like a flower a little bit more.
See, it's the exposure. Yeah, like, hey guys, insurance isn't just sitting behind a desk and picking up the phone. Like, it's so much more than that. Which, again, I mean, going back to, really, you don't know what you don't know. So then it's ultimately up to the leader in order to give them that exposure, right? Joe, I know we got like 5 minutes here, and I want to give you a couple minutes just because you may need a bathroom break or something before you train for 7 hours for the rest of the day. But real quick, Lily, you got the links. Go ahead and drop that in the comments for anybody that is interested in meeting with Joe, booking some time with him. He's got multiple consultative packages for you guys, and he's blowing up. He's doing an amazing job. Again, I've been following him for years. It's been amazing to be able to have him here on the show. Joe, just give him a high-level overview. What is Joseph Puckett Consulting? Basically the criteria of, like, hey, if you guys check all these boxes, you need to freaking call me and we need to get this set up. Just wanted to give you a few moments there to spotlight that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So personal lines, I don't do commercial. I also don't do a ton of life and retirement. You got to go to that guy for that. But any agency that does personal lines that wants to grow, that wants to maximize their revenue, whether they have monthly incentives or annual incentives to hit our ever higher goals. Shit, dude, we just got our goals at Allstate yesterday. They must be thinking we're gonna have a good year, man. Like this is a good thing because, dude, our goals like doubled. Like our growth goals double. But anyways, if an agent wants to grow and hit their goals and maximize their opportunity, if they want to develop and build a team of winners, not just mediocre people there punching a clock and expecting to be fed all day, that's what I do, man. I help agency owners find and develop the right team members to get them on the fast track of writing business quick. There's no 90-day training period. No, they're writing business the first week. They're getting business applications in on the first week. So helping them find and hire and train people if they already have existing team members who are already doing well, but they want growth and development. Man, agency owners hate training. They hate training staff. They hate listening to calls. They hate giving feedback. They think it takes too much time and all that stuff. I can help agents leverage their time a little bit better. They can buy back their time. You know, that's an awesome book, but they can buy back their time by bringing me on to help develop their teams. I do live training once or twice a week for all JPC members. It's $100 a month. That's it total for the whole office. And then I have a mastermind where I meet with just owners once a week. And then I have individual programs. You can check it all out at josephdpuckett.com. But I've been doing this for 10 years, training, coaching, and developing agencies all across the country. Sometimes I think agents are afraid to tell me their problems, like they're embarrassed. I had a woman the other day, 24 years, built a $10 million agency, but she hasn't hit her monthly bonus in 6 months. And said, Joseph, I feel like I'm a failure. I said, you are not a failure. You've built a $10 million personal lines agency. That's a big deal for personal lines. You've been doing this for 24 years. Think of all the lives you've impacted and all the customers you've helped and the team members you've developed. But she's like, I'm just embarrassed to tell you my problems. I'm like, dude, I've heard it all. Trust me. We all got the same problems, man.
Right.
So don't be afraid to reach out if you need help. Or maybe you're already doing pretty good, but you want to take it to the next level. I can help with that too.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, and I know you got to bounce. So if you need to pop off at all, definitely, guys, we dropped that link in the comments. Lily dropped that for you guys. So definitely check out the website, see all the packages he has. I mean, he literally just said the $100 a month. Come on, y'all. Especially, and we have a pretty large captive audience and definitely Allstate. So if you're Allstate watching this, you need to definitely check out what Joseph's got going. And again, man, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it and appreciate everything that you're doing for agents, right? It's just to find somebody else that loves giving back to people. It's few and far between. So thank you, man. I appreciate it. Pete, what you got, man? Lily, you got that link for Pete too? Yeah, Sling It Playbook. You still selling Sling It Playbooks? I still have mine.
Yeah. Volume 1, Volume 2, the online courses, the audio. I got about, 40 different products on the site that you could just buy, or you can spend time with me if you want to at a higher level. But the lowest barrier to entry is I do a once a week training call every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's $129 a month. I've never missed one. So it's 52 weeks of training for like less than a child's policy commission check. So hop on that if you want to. If you join today, obviously you can hop on it too. We'll send you an invite. But I just want to turn you into a high-level producer or your team into high-level producers. I did still running an IMO, $226,000 last month in life premium.
Come on.
So I'm no joke. So if you want to do even half of that, visit PeteFournier.com, link up with me. If you want to book a quick call on Calendly, I'm happy to chat with you for 10 or 15 minutes before you make a purchase. But yeah, come find me anywhere.
Love it, man. Love it. Thank you guys. Yeah, appreciate it. Mr. Merwin, go ahead and close us out. It's been awesome.
As always, we do this thing live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. So thanks for tuning in. Give JPC a call if you're in the P&C space and you need to grow. If you're in the life and retirement space, get with my boy Pete Fournier and sling it. So thank you all for tuning in. As always, this is not only in the group, but it gets pushed to YouTube. What are those other ones? Instagram, TikTok, Reels. Like, we put this stuff everywhere. Thank you to Lily. So if you like the short clips, follow us on Instagram. You'll get the short bite-sized stuff. Maybe it's a little easier for your attention span.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
It's the peak of the week, y'all. We talked about it early. Les Brown says it too. You got to be hungry. Happy winning on Wednesday, y'all. Have a good one.